What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Daemon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Tina Amini.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Justin Davis.
Happy Scoopness.
And Sam Claiborn.
And Happy New Year.
And it is the moment you've all been waiting for. The 75th annual Daemie Awards have arrived. We have a little bit of a pre-show for you first. We'll have the Daemie Awards coming up. We're going to do our sort of year-end review, look back at what content performed the best on IGN this year. But first, sort of as an opening act for the Daemie Awards, is that Perfect Dark announcement that we ran out of time to get to last week. Announced at the Game Awards, all we've got is like a teaser trailer so far, and we know it's from the Initiative, new studio from Microsoft. So, I love Perfect Dark.
You do?
Yeah.
Which Perfect Dark?
What do you mean? The first
Which
Perfect
one?
Dark. Perfect Dark.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the game's great.
Amazing
I didn't
game.
realize you were such a big fan. I mean, I like Perfect Dark, sure. What's it like?
I love Perfect Dark.
That's what it sounds like.
But I understand that, the original is probably over 20 years old at this point.
Listen, we play 20 questions all the time. You should know this. That game came out, I believe, in 1998.
I was going to say 98. So 22 years old. There's only one good one. There's, the bad one on 360. Then there's a Game Boy Color version I'm sure nobody played. So it's like, it's been a long time, and it's a completely different type of game to like a first-person shooter.
And it's not rare.
It's not rare making it. It's like a slow-paced first-person shooter, which is partly because of, the tech it was running on at the time, and partly because Joanna Dark is a spy. So it makes sense that she's a little bit sneaking around, not getting in huge gunfights with 100 enemies. So I don't know. I don't know if it actually makes sense to bring this game back.
I just want to make a correction. Perfect Dark was 2000.
In the year 2000. Okay, so 20 years old.
Yeah, I totally remember the year 2000 now and when that came out. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Damon.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers with this.
Mm-hmm.
Does this game have to be first person?
I mean, does it have to? No, just the first one was. So I don't know.
I just like everyone Perfect Dark. It's a first person shooter. But you touched on this earlier. I don't really think about it that way. I think about it more as like an adventure. You're using gadgets. You're crawling around. You're looking through security feeds. There's a goofy alien. So. In my mind, it doesn't actually have to be a first-person shooter. Like, I think it could be a different thing. They could pull a God of War with it.
It could be set in feudal Japan. That'd be cool. Might be an improvement.
Yeah, but then I'd have to play a mental exercise where I just tell myself it's not a Perfect Dark game and it's actually anyway.
So I like Perfect Dark a lot too, Damon. I don't know that I would say I love it, but I really like it. I was a big fan. I played it a lot. The Initiative is described as a quadruple A studio.
Oh boy.
Highest of the high tier. And I'm like, and again, I like Perfect Dark. I'm like, is this really? Really?
I mean, I know. Yeah, I know.
This is the thing?
I tend to agree with you. They kind of have to reintroduce Perfect Dark to two new generations of gamers, right?
Well, didn't they refocus it around eco sci-fi and not around aliens for some reason?
What? I mean, just from the teaser trailer?
Yeah, from the and from the intro where they talked about it a lot in the awards ceremony stuff.
Yeah, I think that's just the theme around those corporations. They're really warming the globe and what have you. And nature will retake society. There's overgrown vines everywhere, but there could still be aliens.
The original had a real vibe of conspiracy theory, secret societies and stuff that I don't know, it's cool.
Here's one thing that's encouraging to me. The head of the Initiative studio is Daryl Gallagher, and he was at Crystal Dynamics when they rebooted Tomb Raider, and he was the head of sort of rebooting Tomb Raider and whatever it was, 2013. So that's encouraging to me because they've done that. That was a big success, right? So maybe they can do the same thing with Perfect Dark. I hope they can. That's
why they consider it a quadruple A studio. It's supposed to be a super powered group of developers come from so many different backgrounds. Like the director, Drew Murray, was also who worked on Sunset Overdrive. So there's a lot of star players here that should be able to borrow elements that worked really well in their games from their previous careers that they could possibly put into here.
So it's kind of a supergroup studio. I didn't realize that. I mean, I guess we've been hearing. I wouldn't even know the name if there weren't people attached to it that I had heard of. Perfect Dark ended with these, like, the conspiracy and the alien and then I don't remember any of that in Zero. Did you play Zero?
I never played Zero because it was just it didn't get good reviews. I didn't have a 360 right at launch.
Yeah, it had that bump mapping.
Yeah,
Zero's probably. I mean, I'm sure you can buy it on an Xbox Series console. Play it.
Is it not? Is it not in Rare Replay?
Good question. Did Rare make it? Was it a Rare game?
Yeah, it's a Rare game.
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't Rare Replay. I'm gonna look it up on the Xbox store, see what it costs.
Yeah, worth checking out before. But yeah, this is a surprising reboot. Also, just to not know anything about it except for that teaser. Like, that teaser doesn't show anything that looks like Perfect Dark except for Joanna Dark having like she always had a distinct haircut, and they show that in this. That's it. Yeah. That's the only connection.
Perfect Dark Zero is $15 if you want to buy it and play it.
Seems a little steep.
Yeah. I know we've talked about this
received Xbox 360 launch game.
I know we've talked about this on Scoop, but it's so crazy that Xbox has like unified their ecosystem now. Or like, if you have an Xbox console, you can buy and download and play this game right now. It still feels ahead of its time, although that should be how Nintendo consoles and Sony consoles work too. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah. Tina, have you played Perfect Dark?
I haven't, but just from a cinematic, this one looks pretty interesting. Just in the sense of what the narrative might be, the fact that it, like a stealth shooter sounds really interesting. I love stealth games in general, so those like elements that they were teasing seemed really cool. And it sounds like there'll be some parkour elements too. So going back to the whole Sunset Overdrive thing, like that could be done really well. Like the really good traversal combined with a shooter in like a Titanfall-esque kind of way sounds really good to me. I was listening to one of our other podcasts, Podcast Unlocked, and Ryan called it Perfect Dark meets Mirror's Edge, which combo sounds pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. I mean, Sunset Overdrive was like that game is about motion and about getting around, and they did such a good job with that. It's almost like a skate game or something in that sense. Like, it'd be really cool to see what they could do with if it is a first-person shooter. For context out there, if you haven't, Perfect Dark is a significant series primarily because it was the follow-up to GoldenEye. So GoldenEye on N64 was famous for multiplayer and single player campaign a little bit. Perfect Dark had just as good of multiplayer, I think, and everybody played it split screen, and the campaign was so much better. Like it was just a really cool self-contained story. Like it's so crazy to think of that being kind of the peak of Rare. And then Star Fox Adventures coming down a little bit, Perfect Dark Zero coming down a little bit, Cameo, and it's like, man, Rare was at the top of their game. They should have been making Half-Life Alyx this year, with a game that was that significant of a shooter at that time. But there's a different company now.
Yeah, Perfect Dark was really ahead of its time. The multiplayer was crazy good with the RAM expansion pack in the top of your N64.
Yeah.
The campaign levels, like the one that I really remember is the big villa that was like really sprawling and nonlinear and had different ways for you to approach things. And, it really ramped up that system in GoldenEye of like the different difficulty levels. Didn't just make the enemies harder, like it gave you different tasks you had to complete in the levels.
I missed that from Assassin's Creed. It used to have perfect sync in Assassin's Creed, and it was like, well, you're going to go assassinate this person, but also, try not to do this and make sure you stay hidden the whole time. Like, I like that stuff. In Perfect Dark, my favorite level was it's like a downed airplane. There's like, I think it's Air Force One, and it's like crashed, and then you're on the airplane and exploring it, and then you're in like tunnels under it, and it's like all crazy. It's just like such a weird, like psychedelic level.
Yeah, Sam, you're totally right about the comparisons between Perfect Dark and GoldenEye. GoldenEye was probably more of the phenomenon, the cultural phenomenon, but me and my friends played Perfect Dark. That's like the one that we spent all of our time with.
Same.
It's interesting to think that Rare is still around.
Tina's on GoldenEye.
What's that?
Tina was like, I was GoldenEye. I think I was about split, honestly. Like, I played a lot of GoldenEye.
It's interesting to think that
we played a lot of Perfect Dark because it had bots. So me and my buddy would like just try to defeat all the bots, and then it had the dark bots that were terrifying and turn the multiplayer into a horror game because of how like they'd scream around a corner and like headshot you in 1 second because they were like so good, like the best bots I've ever seen in a multiplayer shooter.
Yeah. It's interesting to think that Rare is still around, but they're not making this new one. I wonder if there's anyone at Rare today that was there when they made Perfect Dark, and now they have to watch the Initiative make it, and they're stuck working on Sea of Thieves and
what was
whatever,
the last Rare game? Sea of Thieves. The new Rare game looks really cool though. The like sort of nature-y one that they showed off.
Yeah, what's that one?
Have a good trailer. And I should mention, Sea of Thieves is like as popular as it's ever been. Like it's
that's true.
right now, and that community loves it. And so I don't want to bash Rare. I was just kind of talking about their arc of development. Like it's just not what I expected it to be. I thought they'd be making the most important first-person shooters for the rest of our lives. It's just surprising.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've decided to be, although I was a little bit skeptical, the more we talk about it, I've decided to be hopeful about the new Perfect
That's
Dark.
what we just did here?
Yeah, yep.
I played through, I hadn't thought about Perfect Dark in over 10 years, but then when Rare Replay came out, I blasted through the campaign and it was very nostalgic and, obviously it's like up-resed on the Xbox One, so it like felt pretty good to play. Like I'm sure if I were to actually dig out an N64 and play it, it'd be miserable, right?
The central stick makes it impossible.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know how we did that.
Okay, that's enough Perfect Dark. It is the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's kick off the 75th annual Daemie Awards. Is that what you guys are going to wear?
Well, I was going to ask you, Damon. I know you got dressed up for the Perfect Dark discussion. Are you going to step it up for the awards now?
Now I can relax. Rip off the bow tie. Yeah, if you're listening to the show, I'm wearing a bow tie.
Yeah,
is it real?
They can tell.
Yeah, they can hear the strangulated voice.
It's like it's not clip on, but there's just a band that goes around my neck that I clip.
Oh, that makes it fancier. You got to specify. It's not clip on. It's elastic.
Not elastic, I wouldn't say. Anyway, the bow tie is not getting any awards tonight. Sam, do you have your Slack open?
Yeah.
You have eyes on your Slack? Okay, here to present the first award of the evening.
Oh my gosh, I forgot we did this.
I totally remembered.
It's a category that's usually much more stacked than it is this year, but it's best movie I saw. And I only saw one movie in theaters. And
don't we get to guess it too?
A couple other movies I saw. So here to present the award for best movie I saw is Sam Claiborn.
Okay, I'm not going to look yet.
Why don't we just open it up to why don't you just make it any movie and then it can be Fellowship of the Ring?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, I can't guess. Okay. You picked 3.
Yep.
One of them, I guess, would have been my guess. First is Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that. I was too drunk to remember it. Palm Springs. Real fun. And then Beastie Boys Doc, which I haven't seen yet.
The Beastie Boys documentary. It's on Apple TV+.
It's on Apple, so I'm going to get Apple to watch Ted Lasso, and then I can watch that as part of it.
Yes.
Resubscribe.
Do we make a prediction on what Damon picked? Is that how this works?
Sure.
You pick the Beastie Boys doc.
I think it's Palm Springs.
I think Palm Springs because that would be my choice. So
okay,
me too.
That's good. Birds of Prey is the only movie that I saw in theaters this year. It normally would. It's not my pick. I'm just going through the whole list.
Yeah.
I don't think that would. I liked it. I don't think it would normally be included in my short list of best movies I saw, but I saw so few movies this year. Another one I saw was Invisible Man, which is good. Mm-hmm. Probably wouldn't nominate it as best movie I saw. So Birds of Prey was fun. Definitely a step in the right direction for DC. Palm Springs is very cute, very funny, but like a lot of straight to streaming movies, I think the screenplay could have used a couple more drafts. So I got to go with Beastie Boys Doc. Beastie Boys Doc.
Okay. Is that good?
Well, yeah, the documentary is great. And also just the Beastie Boys, hugely influential on me, my life, even beyond like music, just like style and attitudes. And like, they're just amazing trio of people. I love the documentary. It's a companion to the book that came out last year, which sort of goes through, their young lives as young men growing up in New York and just having total freedom to explore the city at all hours of the night without any sort of adult supervision, and how they went from just being total, like, being in like a hardcore punk band to then really getting into
Which apparently
hip-hop.
there's footage of that we're watching right now.
Yeah. Shows how they got into hip hop, and like in order to stand out, in order to get attention, they like developed these like asshole personas, and like that was their shtick, and that worked well for them. But then they grew up as people, and like they grew out of that, and like they
apologized for it.
Really, yeah, they spent their whole career sort of like making up for that, and they grew into like very like socially, environmentally conscious people. It's just an amazing story. The only gripe I have, the same gripe I had with the book, is that they spend half of the book talking about their lives before they even released their first Beastie Boys rap album. So I guess I just would want more. I just wanted more.
Didn't you say it like followed them on their like book tour a little bit too much too?
What do you mean, the book?
No, the movie. I thought like there's like them being old a lot in it.
Well, I mean, that's what this movie is one of their book tour, a recording of their book tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're old now, yeah, and it's them telling their story. So
we're giving this to Palm Springs, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Beastie Boys documentary.
I will say another documentary this year that embodied a similar like kids in the '80s being free and doing whatever they want. Came out this year, was really good. I enjoyed it. Class Action Park. Have you guys heard of it?
Class. Oh wait. Oh,
yeah, I heard of it. Yeah.
That's the one about the
Danger Park.
Yeah,
the super park. Is it New Jersey? Is that where
New Jersey? Yeah, Action Park.
And they have
New
the slide that goes upside down.
Yes, exactly. The Cannonball Loop or something. Fascinating documentary. But the overall point at the end of it, I also just like love theme parks, water parks, and whatnot. And my brothers grew up going to that park and injuring themselves in it.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of crazy story. But I just love like they kind of bring it back in the end to kids would just, come home whenever, and their parents would be like, okay, see you later. And there'd just be like no holds barred. They just get to go out and have that freedom. So similar.
I got to see that.
Yeah. Where can we watch that?
I think it's on HBO.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
does it have any cool arcade shots?
No.
I wonder if they had an arcade there.
I don't think so. They had a giant bar though, which I had no idea about.
What? At the kids park?
Yeah, there's like an entire, and they would hold big events there too. It's very interesting. Recommend.
It's great. The movie can be summed up as 80s be crazy.
Yes, actually. Yes.
That sounds like it's relevant to my interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Good recommendation.
The award for the best old movie that I discovered this year goes to Humanoids from the Deep, which is an amazingly trashy. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that Borba has footage of this. Amazingly trashy Roger Corman movie from 1980, sort of a Jaws Piranha ripoff. I'll give you an indication of how trashy this movie is. The first person killed is a little kid. And then what do the humanoids want? Why have they come from the deep? What do they want? They want to breed with us. So that's it's a schlocky, super ridiculously gory early 80s horror film. I loved it. It's on Amazon.
Corman in 1980 is a whole new thing, right? I mean, like he'd already been movies in 1960s.
Yeah, exactly. He'd already been around for decades. So. Humanoids from the Deep. That one's great. Okay, Justin, you get the award with the longest list of nominations.
I'm ready.
This is the award for best TV show I watched. Here to present.
Man, so many this year.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Here to present the award for best TV show I watched is Justin Davis.
Best TV show I watched, and the nominees are Ozark season 3.
No.
Ted Lasso.
Maybe.
Cobra Kai.
Oh.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
High Score.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Money Heist. The Boys season 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good season. This is a good year for Daemon television.
Mm-hmm.
Love is Blind. Schitt's Creek. Sex Education season 2. And What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tough one.
That's 10 series. I can't believe I watched 10 amazing TV series this year.
What else is there to do?
Did you see Never Have I Ever?
No.
Oh man, I think you'd like
Forgot about that show.
Teen show stuff. It's really funny. It's so funny.
I'll have to check that one out. Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Cobra Kai. That's
I'm
my
split
prediction.
between Cobra Kai and What We Do in the Shadows, but I might say What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, I've cycled through What We Do in the Shadows episodes 3 or 4 times now. It's so so appealing to me. I would hope it would be for Damon, especially with the horror element of it.
And we talked about it so much.
Yeah.
Well, I loved all these shows. I'd forgotten that Ozark season 3 was this year, but I really like that show. I think I watched it in January. Ted Lasso, I just saw recently on Justin's recommendation, and I super recommend that. Super like feel good. It's great. I liked the High Score documentary on Netflix a lot. That was a big surprise. I just think the access that they had from people from the video games industry in the 80s and early 90s, especially from Nintendo. I loved watching those interviews. That was great.
Money Heist. People died at Nintendo, and when it was such a crazy time in the 80s. So many injuries.
Have any of you watched Money Heist?
No, I never even heard of that.
It's a Spanish show about like bank robbery, and it's great. It's really, really good. It doesn't take itself quite too seriously.
Oh, that's interesting because the trailer is very. The Netflix algorithm is always putting that one in front of me, and I've never given it a chance.
It's really good.
It knows you, Justin.
Yeah, it must.
I was a little lukewarm on season 1 of The Boys, but I really liked season 2 of The Boys.
That show is stressful, man.
Stressful, and I appreciate all the exploding blood and guts. It was great.
So gory.
Love is Blind is nominated with an asterisk. Of course, it's trash TV, but I loved it. It was so the drama that they ratched up, and that was just great. And that's coming from someone who's watched The Bachelor for a long time, and The Bachelor has just gotten so like.
And who dresses like The Bachelor?
I'm dressed like
big influence on your style and dressing like the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, exactly. Not much to say about Schitt's Creek that anyone doesn't know already. The show is hilarious. I super love that one, and it's got the show has a great heart to it as well. Sex Education is a show that I don't hear people talking about a lot, but it's a British teen comedy on Netflix, and season 2 was great. And of course, like you guys said, What We Do in the Shadows, super funny. I love that show as well. But I got
for 3rd season.
That's
not only that, but the 3rd season is in like the early part of next year. They're like done.
They were able to film it.
They filmed it in like January.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah, I got to give it to Cobra Kai. I've sung the praises here on the show many times, but like, I cannot believe that this show worked. A sequel to the Karate Kid from the 80s, and it's really good. It's like both exciting, it's got good action, and then like really good characters and great drama happening. I just can't believe it. It's great.
It's never been. I don't think there's ever been like a bigger gap between like how good something is and how good it should be. Like it has no right to be this way. And this is crazy. It kind of does what Last of Us Part 2 was trying to do better in terms of just like making the antagonist to the original, the protagonist of the new one, and then the hero of the original, Daniel is like a real douchebag as an adult. I don't know. Right.
Well, we've been set up for that swap too, though.
What do you mean?
Years of fans being like, he was robbed, etc.
Really? Was that a kind of a meme, like a actual term meme? Like that was a thing that like a piece of information that was around? That's so cool.
It was a popularly held opinion and even replicated in How I Met Your Mother through Neil Harris's character. Yeah.
That's such cool background because that means they knew about that and they're like, let's do something with this.
Yeah, he calls him the real Karate Kid.
Wow. Really?
Mm-hmm. Whole thing.
A couple others to note. Do you guys remember that Dracula was this year?
Yeah, I love Dracula.
Yeah,
Dracula, I mean that was great. Didn't make the top 10.
Though. I like Dracula episode 1. Then it gets really weird.
That's kind of why. That's why I didn't nominate it. But yeah,
cool. I like 2, 3 too.
I liked Umbrella Academy season 2, just not as much as the Boys.
Yeah, good characters in that.
Yeah, I really liked Queen's Gambit. We just finished that. Although I think it's like exhilarating when she's playing chess, but then when she's hanging out with these dweeby dudes, it's kind of like I get a little bored then.
I like the traveling in the sets. I mean, it's all mid-century stuff.
That's,
so
that
I love
part
60s stuff, and it's really, really cool.
It's so
I love it
to look at. I'm like, how do they even make this show? Like, it just feels like
how do you do a Soviet Russian modern hotel? Like, it's or Mexico City. It's like so crazy.
Just like the recreation of Las Vegas and all that stuff. It's like Netflix is good at having these shows. Like Queen's Gambit is great, but like they're good at having these shows that are like mainly just beautiful to look at, and it kind of doesn't even matter what's like happening. what it's about.
And then finally, Mandalorian. I think I'm enjoying it, and the stuff that they've done. Hopefully, this isn't a spoiler to people, but what they've done with Boba Fett, I think, is amazing. But overall, I just think that show is like good, not top tier, good, fun, good.
It's finally getting good.
Yeah.
It's warming up. It's needs more baby. And then I love every time there's X-wings in that show. Very rare. Whenever there is, it's great.
They're in there all the time.
A couple times.
They're the cops now. They're like, cops are here, and it's X-wings.
Yep.
It's so funny.
How do I? Oh, here we go. All right, Tina, are you ready for the big award? You get to do the big award.
Nice.
This is the award for best game I played. Here to present the award for best game I played this year is Tina Amini.
Did you personally withhold that information in the last episode when we were talking about Game of the Year and only let us talk about our games of the year?
No,
I want for this episode.
I'm trying to remember if Damon gave it away.
Oh, I know what it is already, so I'm taking it. Thank you very much. You guys, hold on. The nominees are Hades, Hunt Down, Panzer Paladin, Streets of Rage 4, Ghost of Tsushima. Hold on, going back. The Eternal Castle, and then finally Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2. And it is, of course, right, Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
What about Spelunky 2?
Yeah, you'll notice I didn't even nominate it. I mean,
I did notice.
We only had room for so many.
I like Spelunky 2 a lot, but I was a little disappointed with how many similarities there were to the original game. It wasn't the sort of like revelation that I was expecting, where it's all new. And it also came out right at the same time as Hades, and I think everyone was just like, I feel a little bit bad for the Spelunky team. I think just Hades.
Yeah, I can see that.
Love.
Yeah, took the conversation.
I really like Spelunky 2. It's a very, one could say perfectly put together game, but
then nominate it. It's your
because
award.
I was a little bit disappointed with
Look, it takes a committee of Daemons to solve these things. And,
the council,
take it up with the committee.
The Council of Daemons.
Hades, we talked about a lot the last episode. Super impressive roguelike, but I find myself looking forward to the moments in between runs more than the actual action of the runs. Hunt Down is a game seemingly made for me, 2D pixel art run and gun shooter with tons of 80s references and like really fun boss battles. Every level is like very unique and different feeling. Multiple characters that have different abilities and weapons. It's great.
That sounds great.
Streets of Rage 4 is like what companies, these developers that have been around for a long time, should be doing when they resurrect their old properties. Like that's what Capcom should have done with its new Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Did you watch that trailer, Sam?
Yeah. It's the ugliest possible version of a Ghosts and Goblins. I mean, some of the monsters look cool, but it just looks. And also, it's like, do I really want to play a game with that slow of a character with a 2-hit till you're dead? Like, everything is wrong with that game. Like, it's not what I want to play in a Monster Hunter reboot. Or I'm sorry, Ghosts and Goblins reboot. I saw Capcom and I just said Monster Hunter.
It's a really ugly art style, but I would.
Look how slow the character is.
Yeah, I know. I can only imagine what this would look like in like a Dead Cells pixel art style. Like that sounds amazing. And with Streets of Rage 4, Sega, instead of making it themselves, they hired a small indie developer that had a lot of love and passion for that franchise and let them make it, and it turned out great. The Eternal Castle is a game I was singing the praises of earlier in the year. I played it on Switch. It's a cinematic platformer with an amazing 4-bit art style. That's how they describe it. And it's emulating games like Out of This World and Flashback, stuff like that. That game is super cool. Also has great pixelated gore in it. And Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 is, it's very, very similar to the original Curse of the Moon. Did you end up finishing that one, Sam?
Yeah, I beat it.
Yeah.
I definitely got to the last boss. I think I got frustrated on the last boss.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right for me too.
So good though. I really like how you can play how you want with the characters, and then like how you start monitoring their life bars so carefully and getting stressed out about that. It's really fun.
It's like Turtles.
Oh, I didn't even mention
Turtles.
I skipped over Panzer Paladin, but I was going to say that having multiple characters and each of them have their own health, but then when that character's health is gone, you have to go on without them. It's kind of like having breakable weapons in a game like Breath of the Wild and Panzer Paladin. All the weapons have their own health bars, and they can be destroyed. So you always have to think about, is it worth using my most powerful weapon right now, or should I try and save it, even though it's going to make it more difficult to get through this level? I like playing those games in my head, those little meta games, while I'm doing all the platforming and all the other stuff. But yes, Tina's right. As I said last episode, it's not even fair. Ghost of Tsushima, open world, feudal Japan samurai game, and all they had to do was not mess it up, and they didn't. The game is is so good.
Like something I didn't get to talk about in last week's episode that I really appreciate about that game is it's there's so many different stances, there's so many different varied interesting side activities that it doesn't feel like the first game in a new franchise. It feels like something that they've been working on and iterating on for a long time, where like Ghost of Tsushima 2 or 3 would have all this stuff packed into it, but they managed to shove it all in their very, very first try. Like, it's amazing. Sucker Punch has never been, a bad developer by any stretch, but they really, really stretched and reached a new height with this one that I am a little bit surprised and impressed that they had it in them.
Yeah, I am too.
I loved goosing my challenge meter or whatever the challenges were, where you'd be like, come out and fight me. And then people come out and you can kill like 5 or 6 of them by the end of that by just like hitting the button at the right time. That feels so badass. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love the one-on-one duels that you have with like the Ronin around. Like, you'll come to the pond and he's just been there waiting for you. Like, who knows how long.
Meditating.
Yeah.
Those got better, but at the start of the game, those were really hard.
Yeah.
The challenges, the loud challenges are like an interesting tension because then they stop you from doing stealth, right?
Yeah.
So it's like every single time I'm ever trying to like take over a castle or whatever, I have to decide, like, do I want to try to stealth it or try to just knock 5 of them out right now?
For sure. Although I think you can like run away. Yeah, I think you can run away, get them to not be aware, and then run back, do the challenge.
Can you do the bush hide? You go in a bush for a little bit?
Where's your honor?
Yeah. It was gone as soon as I decided to go the stealth route.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
We've been over this.
I want to give a shout out to Maneater, the open world shark game. That I had a lot of fun with that. Super janky game, but very, very fun, enjoyable. And when I think back about that game, my like emotional response is how the shark is like it mutates over time and develops like this like bone structure, this exoskeleton that grows over its skull, and its eyes glow red, and its teeth are like all like they're like, I mean, they're not like uniform. They're like really like evil looking. So I remember how like evil my shark looked because a human, I think, fished his mother, and he grows. The whole thing is like you start out as a tiny little shark. The more you eat, the bigger you get, and you're just gonna eat all the people in the world to get revenge for your mom.
And these cyber psychos.
Yeah. And then Desperados 3 is a game that I spent a lot of time with this year. That's a strategy game from the guys that did Shadow Tactics, Blade of the Shogun, and it's really good. It's more of a PC game, but they got it to work pretty well on PS4. And the level is like really long. It takes hours just to complete one level. So I spent a lot of time with it, but I didn't finish it because I think Ghost of Tsushima came out, and I moved on with it. But I had a lot of fun with Desperados 3. And then a game I just started playing last night, Monster Train. That's going to be Monster Train is awesome. And that
really?
Monster Train's really good.
Well, you're not going to like it, Sam.
Is it a card game?
It's a card game.
Ah!
Yeah. It's a card game, but like people that like Slay the Spire, Borba, if you're listening, this is like it could be like the next Slay the Spire. It's really, really good, and it's different enough to stand on its own, I think. Would you agree, Justin?
It's really great. I love it and can't recommend it highly enough. I do think Slay the Spire, Monster Train sort of shunts you into a few different builds. And I think you have more flexibility in a game like Slay the Spire. Like Monster Train's good for like 40 hours, whereas Slay the Spire is like a 400-hour game if you want to let it be that.
Are you on a train with monsters? Is this a literal game?
Yeah, you're defending the train as monsters invade it, and the train's going through the circles of hell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It just hit Game Pass, so it's on Xbox now. That's how I checked it out.
Actually, you are the monster train, and you're defending it from angels that are trying to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's great.
Check.
Okay, the final award of the evening is the best joke I heard this year. The best dad joke I heard this year, I should specify.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
Okay, so the first runner-up is remember the joke I made about the chiropractor?
No.
I made it about a week back.
Here we go. No.
Our second runner-up is I finally got my dream job at the guillotine factory. I'll be heading there shortly.
Yeah.
Hearing these, by the way.
What's up?
Where are you hearing these? Like in casual conversation?
I cannot reveal my sources.
Oh, I see.
The best, my favorite dad joke that I heard this year is a guy tried to sell me a coffin today.
Mhm.
Total. That's the last thing I need.
Fair.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Hey, just so everybody knows out there, we're going to pipe in the laughter. We couldn't muster it ourselves. So we got our producer on the line. He's taking notes, and he'll get in the laughter there.
With claps and laughter, yeah. Well, to be fair, we all made facial expressions.
Yeah. But the
Not
laughter
for the
will
week
be...
back one. Nobody even reacted to that one.
That one took me a second longer than I'm willing to. Well, I'm clearly willing to admit.
We were already on joke. We were already on joke 2 before joke 1 landed.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I was because I was genuinely trying to rack my brain. Like, I forgot something Damon said.
Damon, do we have to pick which one wins?
Oh no, the coffin one is my favorite.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to the 75th annual Daemie Awards. Congratulations to all our winners.
75th. It's weird that we do these 12 times a year.
Mhm.
Let's see. Before we wrap things up, what do you guys know? Who knows what the most read article on IGN was this year? And not like a wiki or a guide. What was the most read?
So that's so rude. That's the rudest thing you've ever said.
Oh,
And it's how to buy a PlayStation 5.
That's exactly right. Where to pre-order a PlayStation 5.
But I know what number 2 is now because it just arrived there, and it's the Cyberpunk review.
and it
Or maybe
just
that's just for the
trounced
month.
another review.
Yeah. It must just be for a month, because my next question was going to be, what do you think is our most popular review? And as of today, as of this taping, it's not Cyberpunk.
Yes,
What
right.
did we saw? It was just going to pass. That's the thing. It was like it was just going to pass.
Avengers.
the-
It'll probably...
Yeah, it
it's
was
Avengers. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We were
Yeah,
looking at that.
super weird. But
Yeah.
as
You know
I
what,
pointed
though?
out, everybody stopped caring about Avengers after that review went up.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, it was like, an in progress thing, so we replayed
That's
it
right,
another time.
yeah.
And-
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That beta went out well in advance of the release, so I think that's why.
And we have
Yeah,
a few more review follow-ups for Cyberpunk 2 to add in there.
that's true.
Yeah.
Current gen, next gen.
By the time this episode is out, Cyberpunk will probably have leapfrogged over Avengers.
We what I run at IGN is our commerce business and pre-order business, and the PlayStation 5. Like, it's unbelievable. You still can't find one anywhere. Like, it's still very, very hard to find both consoles. But the Xbox actually stayed in stock for like 5 or 10 minutes yesterday, where it's like PS5 is still just like, blink and you miss it.
That's pretty significant that you could buy the Xbox that easily yesterday.
Yeah, for 5 minutes on Amazon. So
easy.
Well, but like
Yeah. Well,
it happens in drips and drabs, right? Like, it'll be 10 minutes next time, and then 20, and then
Right.
eventually.
Yeah, hopefully.
Eventually, everyone will have one.
yeah. And that system's worth getting right now to play Cyberpunk on, according to Damon.
Orba
Yes,
says
better.
some PS5s actually just became available during this taping.
Yeah,
Wow.
they went up on Best Buy and Walmart yesterday and today. So
Mhm.
every single one that's sold is just one less person that's on the hunt for it. So if you're one of the people that are still trying to get one, follow IGN Deals on Twitter and we'll hook you up.
Ugh, those bots, though. Am I right?
Mm.
The that PS5 pre-order article is not only the most page views of the year, but it's the most page views since we switched our analytics platform 3 or 4 years ago for a single article.
And I can tell you guys what the biggest guide page was. That wasn't. There's a bunch of guide pages that were more popular that weren't written this year, but the one that was written this year was an Animal Crossing one.
Hmm.
I know 1 and 2 because I looked them up not an hour ago.
Animal
The first
Crossing.
one was all villagers. So that's actually a surprise to me.
Just a list of all the villagers.
Yeah, it's
you
like
can you can boot villagers out of your island. So some people will like nag their villagers to leave if they want a preferred villager in.
And people became really dedicated to get certain villagers. And then there's these cards you could use to scan in villagers for ones you wanted, but those sold out immediately at the head of the pandemic and never came back in stock. They're just non-existent.
That was one of the last pictures I took pre-pandemic.
Where we spread them all out on the floor.
Yeah.
Yes. Some say they're still there.
They were there
for a long time.
Maybe 2 months ago. They were there all summer long. I went in, got some, and used them. And then the second most popular page is fish list and fish locations and times.
So those are the most popular 2020 game wiki guides.
Yep. Everything else is a cheats page from lots of different games, just like going back through history.
GTA 5 cheats and secrets.
I was just going to say,
there's a bunch of GTAs in there. It's not just that. San Andreas, a bunch of other stuff.
The single most read page on all of IGN in 2020 is GTA 5 cheats and secrets. Same as it has been probably since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
People just cannot memorize these cheats.
But the most popular 2020 game, so like the game that got the most page views from like all articles, reviews, previews, and the wiki is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Cool. That's unusual. That game ended up being a very popular guide game, just like people loved using the guide for that. So I'm sure that added up. But that's earlier part of the year. People went crazy for our coverage of it too.
Well, Cyberpunk guides are starting to pick up as launch. So we'll see.
I have no question. Yeah, Cyberpunk is just going to be a megaton once it works for everybody.
Until Mario 3D All Stars blew it out of the water, Final Fantasy VII Remake was the game that IGN Deals saw the most pre-orders from too, as well.
Mm-hmm. That was so cool that when the 3D All Stars was taken off and everybody's excited, but then people were pretty disappointed by that launch. But
it's the Nintendo. I don't. It's the only available for a limited time thing. That's the only thing I can attribute it to.
Mm-hmm. And then, does anyone know what the most read news article of the year is? The answer might surprise you.
Okay, the third Cyberpunk delay.
I bet it's one of our science stories.
Yeah, I think it's the asteroid almost hitting Earth one.
I omitted those.
Asteroid almost hitting Earth?
That was it. But I should specify the video game. The most read video game news story of the year. This is an asteroid scoop.
Is it the ACO playing or doing the Twitch stream? Yeah.
No, it's Microsoft no longer selling 12-month Xbox Live Gold plans ahead of Xbox Series X launch. That's it. That's the most read news article.
Microsoft Bethesda, but no.
I know it's really
that was a pretty big story, right?
That was.
Number 2 was a mother recovers the $20,000 her son secretly spent on Twitch donations in 17 days.
Oh, that was a crazy one. That had a good ending, right? They restored the money. Oh, that is the story. You said that was the recovery one because we covered the first part of that, which was son spends $20,000.
Yeah. And then number 3 was PS5's controller, the DualSense revealed. That was really
the controller instead of anything about the console or games or anything. But
they were more willing to talk about that first before the console.
Yeah, the controller was revealed first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. Okay. So then looking into 2021, it's a little bit slow going right into the year in terms of new game releases. But are there any any games that are coming in 2021, whether they have a release date or not, that you are looking forward to? Tina,
my brain's not working.
Can you guess mine, Damon?
In 2021, wow, is it God of War 2 or Ragnarok?
No, it's we've talked about a particular theme that we may share in our current game of the year.
So it's either open world or it's
Tokyo,
Japan.
Yeah.
Well, Ghostwire Tokyo,
Japan, but yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire
is
Tokyo,
at least one of the games that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, looks trippy as hell.
Yeah, we've got a couple trailers for the game, and that's this the Evil Within team, right?
I believe.
Shinji Mikami.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sam, how about you?
Can you guys guess what mine is? One of the games came out this year, and I loved it. And I think it got a little bit snubbed by our staff because it was short, but it was really, really good. And it was too scary to play for a lot of people.
A short
It's
series
coming out with a sequel next year.
Yeah. Although
Short
the sequel is 4 games later.
Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah, because I loved Resident Evil 3, and I thought that was a really great start to this year. I loved 2 and 3 Remake so much, and Village. I'm so into Resident Evil. I mean, I'm more into the behind the person games, third person games, but yeah, that's definitely my number 1.
Justin, how about you?
It's an interesting question. I might need to look at a calendar. I mean, the most anticipated game in general is overwhelmingly Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that we're actually going to get that next year. I hope we do. That and maybe a fully functional and patched Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, I think I
Well,
have
it
one
does
that we
come
all
out on
share.
next gen.
yeah.
It comes out
the
on next gen next year, so
I haven't tried to get a refund for the PS5 version, so I have it on PC and PS5, or the PlayStation version, and so maybe I'll just leave that PlayStation version until it's all patched up.
I don't know if anybody's as excited about it for me, but I think play it and give it a try. But I think Lord of the Rings Gollum is interesting.
Yeah.
It's a Lord of the Rings game that's coming out.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that turns out.
No, nobody cares.
I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna wait for the
we'll
reviews
see.
on that one.
Yeah, there are a couple we'll sees.
Before we break, can I share a cute story?
Yes, you can. You may.
Me and my older daughter, who's 6.5, she's really like, a switch has been flipped, and like I've talked about on the show before that we play video games a little bit together, but she found them really frustrated and didn't have much fun. But like now she's familiar enough with controllers and stuff that like a whole door has been opened and we can play all kinds of games together. And we've been playing Untitled Goose Game. And
Really good.
she just calls it Sneaky Goose. She's like, "Can we
So
play
cute.
Sneaky Goose?"
Mhm.
And then like they patched in this 2-player mode, and so we're both these different geese just honking at people and ruining their day. And now she asks to play like Sneaky Goose just in like around the house. She just wants to play it. And she makes me, she doesn't know that this is what she's describing, but she makes me have like an NPC. She's like, go stand over here, count to 5, and then turn around and go over here and count to 5. And she's like, and I'm going to try to sneak behind you and like grab things and like untie your shoes. And like, then she made me have these like keys sticking out of my pocket that like she had to try to steal my keys. And
She's broken down the level design. Good for her.
Yeah, for real.
Then she pretends to be a goose, her and her sister, and then after about 5 minutes, it just becomes them screaming and honking. And,
Well, if you need another Christmas gift for them, you should totally get them a goose costume.
is it? I didn't know those existed.
Anything, come on, and type anything into Amazon, it exists.
Goose costume.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, except for it's very cute and wholesome. Except she's like, now I want to bite the people, and I'm like, I don't think the goose can do that. Like,
Yeah, you can only honk in the game.
I'm like, he's mischievous. He's not like evil.
Yeah.
He just wants those bells.
You
Yeah.
do bite things. You can bite and drag things, but you can't bite people, as far as I remember.
And that's also an example of Game Pass getting me, by the way, because we started it's on Game Pass, and that's why we were playing it. And on December 15th, a couple days ago, it was taken off of Game Pass, and so then I just had to buy it. Like,
Really?
Which whatever, like I buy games all the time, but like,
But that's kid pressure.
yeah,
can't
that's
go
the
without
kid
it.
That'll do it.
And that's
Yeah.
also, I'm sure that's the stats that like Microsoft shares with developers, right? It's like be on Game Pass a while, and then your game sales will increase, and it's like it completely worked on me.
Whoa, I never thought about the after purchase thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they sell. I'm positive. I don't know that this is the case, but I'm positive that they share stats that it has a halo effect on other platforms. Like the Switch sales probably increased, and then when it's taken off of Game Pass, their sales probably go up.
And that brings us to Video Game 20 questions, and our suggestions this week come from Nick. He says it's only fair to send off 2020 with not 1 but 2 rounds of Video Game 20 questions. It's only 2020 once. Let's double the exciting action. Video Game 2020 questions.
I don't
We'll see how far
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can we do it in 4 minutes?
That's
Yeah,
why.
let's
That's
find
why
out.
I shared my anecdote.
I have a
didn't
meeting
know we
too.
were playing 20 questions.
Well, we have to play 20 questions.
Okay.
It's the law.
Let's get to it.
All right.
Let's get into it. Let the questioning begin.
Is this first
this
game
is-
on current generation consoles?
No.
Did it come out before 2000?
No.
Ooh, did this game come out on the previous generation of consoles?
PS3, 360, or what? Yeah. Is that what you're calling previous?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess
For now,
Yes.
It did.
Okay. Is this an exclusive?
No.
Is it part of a series?
Yes. That's 5.
Okay.
Was this game developed in Japan?
Yes.
Is it an RPG?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay.
Was this game made by Square Enix?
Yes.
Is this a Dracula game? Sorry, Tina.
No.
No.
Is it an FF?
Is it a Final Fantasy game? Yes. That's 10.
Okay.
I don't know them for that era.
Yeah, I mean, is this one of the mainline? Is this game titled Final Fantasy number after that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's got to be 13, right? Does this game star lightning?
No.
I mean, I guess it could be 14. Is this game an MMO?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is this game Final Fantasy 14?
I just want to remind everyone that if you're wrong, you lose.
Oh boy.
What are you doing? It's not 11. It's not Final Fantasy 11. I don't understand what you're doing to us right now.
You can guess 14 if you like.
It's an MMO. Like what? It's not
Did
a
he say yes? It was an MMO,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it came out on that generation.
But I don't think 14 came out on those consoles.
It came out on PS4. It absolutely. That's
This
when
is
I first
3.
played it.
3.
PS3, yeah.
Oh,
Is that 11 then?
maybe it is 11.
Well,
I don't
we
know.
know it's not 14.
Yeah, because 12 came out on that era of
13.
stuff.
Okay, so did this game initially come out and be extremely poorly received, and then get completely reworked and relaunched to significant critical acclaim?
No.
Is it Final Fantasy 11?
Yes. 15.
I didn't know what the answer to that question was.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 came out and everyone hated it and it was terrible. And then it was the first example I can ever think of a game, like they took like 2 years and rebuilt it and relaunched it and everybody loved it.
We have 1 minute.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't do it.
Final Fantasy 11 originally came out on PS2 and PC in 2004, and then came out on 360 in 2006.
Okay.
Does everybody have a hard out?
Yeah.
Everybody has a hard out. Only Tina told me at the beginning.
I'm sorry.
We just let her take the heat.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone else flew under the radar.
I didn't even check until it popped up 15 minutes ago.
Okay, and then I guess that's all the time we have.
We can do it over Slack, and we can send this guy the results.
So yeah, send them to Nick in IC.
Okay. All right.
That is all the scoops that we have for you this year, I'm afraid. Thank you so much for hanging out with us all year long. We're going to take next week off to have a little break, and then we're going to come back with brand new episodes of Game Scoop in the new year. Thank you to Justin. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Sam. Thank you to Borba, always working behind the scenes. My name is Damon. This has been IGN Game Scoop, and we're out.